All right, everyone. Ever wish you could just download a new skill straight into your brain?
Uh-huh, right.
I'm talking fluency in, I don't know, Italian, whipping up a gourmet meal, or coding like a pro, and all in 30 days.
That would be pretty amazing.
I've always wanted to just breeze through Italy, ordering gelato like a local,
Sounds nice.
but finding the time to actually learn the language. Well, that's the tough part.
Yeah, that's always the issue, isn't it?
It seems like everyone's jumping on these 30-day challenge bandwagons these days, promising to turn us all into instant experts.
Right.
But do they really work?
That's the big question.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into one of these intriguing challenges, the one that's always fascinated me:
Oh, yeah.
language learning. Can you really go from knowing absolutely nothing to actually speaking a new language in just 30 days?
The age-old question.
We've got some fascinating source material all about one person's attempt to do just that.
Sounds promising. Let's dive in.
So what's interesting is they didn't go for, I don't know, Spanish or French.
Huh?
They chose to tackle Mandarin Chinese.
Wow. That's, ambitious.
And Mandarin's known for being quite complex, right? Especially with the tones and the writing system.
Oh, absolutely. It's considered one of the most difficult languages for native English speakers to learn.
So this wasn't just a casual stroll through the new language. This was like jumping headfirst into the deep end.
Exactly, and that makes their experience even more interesting to analyze.
So give us the rundown. What was their plan of attack? What did their learning schedule look like?
They committed to spending an hour each day studying.
Every single day.
Every single day. That consistency is key when you're trying to learn so much so quickly.
Right. Makes sense.
Okay.
Did they have any prior experience with Mandarin? Or were they starting completely from scratch?
They had dabbled a bit beforehand, knew a few basic phrases, but nothing substantial.
Okay, so not a complete newbie, but still a massive undertaking.
Definitely.
What tools did they use to tackle this linguistic challenge?
Well, they used a mix of things. They started with Duolingo.
Ah, the popular language learning app.
Yep. They used that for daily structured lessons, and, the app's kind of gamified, so it helped keep them engaged.
I can see how that would be helpful. But Duolingo alone probably wasn't enough, right?
Right. They knew immersion was key. So they supplemented Duolingo with YouTube channels that were made by native Mandarin speakers.
Okay, so not just passively watching videos, but actively using YouTube as a learning tool.
Oh, well.
What kind of videos did they watch?
Oh, a whole mix. Everything from vlogs about daily life in China to videos specifically designed to teach grammar concepts. They even watched Chinese dramas with subtitles.
Interesting. Did they talk about how they used the dramas to learn?
Yeah, they focused on trying to pick out familiar words and phrases, and they'd rewind and repeat certain parts to try to nail the pronunciation.
Makes sense. So Duolingo for structured learning, YouTube for immersion, anything else?
Don't forget the good old-fashioned flashcards. They use those to drill the characters, and writing them out by hand seemed to really help solidify them in their memory.
So hitting the language from all angles. But I'm guessing it wasn't all smooth sailing, was it?
Definitely not. The source material describes the experience as a bit of a roller coaster.
I can imagine. There are always ups and downs when you're learning something new.
For sure. They talk about hitting plateaus where they'd feel like they were making good progress, and then bam, they'd have a conversation with a native speaker and feel completely lost.
Oh, I bet that was discouraging.
It happens to everyone though, right? One minute you think you're getting it and the next you're back to square one.
Absolutely. Did they have any, I don't know, funny anecdotes about those moments?
Actually, yeah. They mentioned this embarrassing incident where they accidentally mixed up the words for hello and goodbye.
Oh no, I can only imagine the confusion.
Right. They said it happened with a shopkeeper and it led to a very awkward interaction.
I bet. Those moments are so relatable though, aren't they? We've all been there when we're trying to learn something new. Those little slip-ups are just part of the process.
Exactly, and that's why it's so important to track your progress, to see how far you've come even when you have those setbacks.
They mentioned how they tracked their progress.
Oh, yeah, they used a few different methods. He found a language partner online to practice speaking with regularly.
Oh, smart. That's a great way to get real-world practice.
Exactly, and those sessions helped expose them to more natural, everyday Mandarin, the kind of language you don't always get from textbooks or apps. They also used online quizzes and even tried translating short articles to gauge their reading comprehension.
It's like having a personal dashboard for your language learning journey. So, let's get down to the big question. Was the 30-day challenge enough to achieve fluency in Mandarin?
Well, let's be realistic. Becoming fluent in any language, especially one as complex as Mandarin, in just 30 days is a massive feat.
Especially starting with limited experience.
Right. And they readily admit that they didn't achieve complete fluency,
Hmm.
but they made significant progress.
Like what?
They could have basic conversations, navigate everyday situations like ordering food or asking for directions, and perhaps most importantly, they started to understand the nuances of Chinese culture.
All in just 30 days. That's pretty remarkable.
It really is, and I think it highlights an important takeaway. The real value of these kinds of challenges isn't necessarily about achieving perfection. It's about demonstrating the power of focused learning.
That's a great point.
Think about it. If someone can make that much progress in 30 days, imagine what's possible if you commit to learning something you're passionate about, even if it's just for 30 minutes a day over a longer period.
That's really inspiring. It's all about finding that balance between intensity and consistency, right?
Exactly.
So for anyone listening who's ever wanted to learn a new language, or any skill for that matter, remember that even small, consistent efforts can lead to incredible results. Maybe you won't be fluent in 30 days, but you might surprise yourself with what you can achieve.
Absolutely. And as you embark on your own learning journey, think about how you can adapt this 30-day challenge model to fit your own learning style and goals. How can you make it your own?
Yeah, could you combine online learning with real-world experiences?
Exactly. Or could you use skills you already have to accelerate your learning in a new area?
I love that. It's all about getting creative and finding what works best for you. The possibilities are endless.
That's the beauty of learning.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and be sure to check back for our next deep dive.
We'll see you then.